Have you ever wondered how to lift the legendary Titanic from the bottom? Recently, scientists have proposed a new plan for how to do it, and he changes everything. In this issue, you will find out, how can you lift the Titanic in 2024 year? What is the main problem of this method? In 1996, engineers almost destroyed the legendary ship. And can you lift the Titanic with ping pong balls? Almost everyone knows the story of the Titanic, so I will not retell it to you again. But before I lead you a new plan, scientists lift the Titanic from the ocean, suggest to sea, and what is their global difference? The most first way, after the liner crash, was supposed to, that it can be raised with the help of submarine stuffed with magnets. Such a way to lift the Titanic from one ocean. This is a huge technical and organizational task. The first problem is the size and weight of the vessel. The Titanic was one of the largest ships of its time. Its length was about 270 meters and weighed about 5,200 t. Lift such a giant vessel from the ocean garden will require powerful magnets and special equipment, able to withstand enormous pressure at depth. The second problem is related to the huge pressure, which makes accessing it difficult and dangerous. In a submarine will be necessary, overcome huge pressure and dark, cold, and challenging conditions in the deep ocean. Out of all these problems, way to quickly rejected. Despite this, English scientists offered to overlay cereal with plastic lantern containers with water. According to investigators, gas would form as a result of electrolysis, which could in theory lift the Titanic. He has a big risk of electrocution, which can create serious problems for submarine team and equipment. And also Titanic can just for good, cannot withstand such experiments, and just fall apart on the way to land. The following theory was proposed by scientists from California. They suggested doing it with nitrogen, and then Titanic, like a giant ice cube, would be pushed out by ocean waters. This way, like the previous one, has a chance of that Titanic would just fall apart. Also, some scientists were supposed to go down on the bathyscaphe to the sunken ship and attach nylon gas cylinders to it. That's just the implementation of this method would take a minimum 10 years old. Yes, and find a huge amount. That's just how to deliver so many toys to such depth and make them not flatten. Pressure at depth. We're also supposed to pump the vessel with melted wax, paraffin, or petroleum jelly, or invent a giant claw or bucket, slot machine anemometer, lift the hull from the depths. What method scientists did not offer? Practically all of them got rejected. And in 1996, the first and the last attempt to get the Titanic from the bottom, raise part of the ship to the surface, weighing 21 t, attracted almost 2,000 people for this task. They paid for that. To see a historic moment from aboard of cruise ship, engineers have developed special balloons, which subsequently filled diesel fuel for operation. But unfortunately, the cables broke, and part of the liner, which was only 64 meters from the surface, disappeared in the depths of the ocean. Over the past few years, increasingly, scientists say that destroyed by time and water, the body cannot be lifted, and in the next decade, it will fall to pieces. This is what most scientists insist on. Nonetheless, so-called minority don't plan to give up. For example, last summer, planned new expedition to save the Titanic. Expedition wanted to organize the company, Arms Titanic King, based in USA, who owns the rights to Salvation, world's most famous shipwreck. Company exposes artifacts found at the crash site at the bottom of the North Atlantic, from silverware to a piece of Titanic hull. The United States of America started actively fight all the sinking to the Titanic, stating that the sunken ship is your grave. They are not going to give permission to raise the Titanic from the bottom. But despite all the prohibitions, many people still are eager not to give the legendary vessel. Take a look in the North Atlantic, and on some side, they're right. Because it would seem the rise of the Titanic to the surface would answer many questions, and just became a sign event for World Heritage. And scientists really want to raise a legendary vessel. During research to the wreckage, Liner committed not one expedition, and the surface was raised over 1,000 items. How to lift the Titanic from the bottom, and none of them are likely to work. However, researchers recently suggested incredibly grand plan. How to do this did not destroy the hull of the ship. They proposed make a giant waterproof dome, which can cover the Titanic, then suck all the water out of there, then strengthen the Titanic with the help of various metal constructions. This program will be required in the area. $100 million besides lead such an adventure. These are incredible risks. Calculation of scientists. You can use this way until 2025. Well, or at best until 2030 on 1 Atlantic. There will be nothing left from here. Yet the Titanic has enough small chances to see the sun again. But he is also not excluded that someday scientists will be able to do it. But in the meantime, I suggest we talk about interesting facts about the Titanic, which you didn't know. Don't rush to rewind or turn off the video. Give us a couple seconds. To interest you, the Titanic sank over 100 years ago. Despite this, he is still known around the world. If by modern is in trend, a lot credit to this Cameron movie. But many people are more interested in the fact of flooding such giant object. But more on that later. And now about Cameron's movie. A couple days ago, at auction in the US, put up a door props, thanks to which one of the main characters of the film was saved. Titanic, the initial cost of the prop is £32,000. It's $40,000. Auction authors note that the door is decorated with intricate carving, which was Suzerain based on the most famous whole piece of wreckage. Props resembles a panel in the style of Louis XV, which is in the Maritime Museum in New Scotland. Also at auction, planned to sell the helm Titanic, dress rose and orange lifelines. In 1996, operator learned nothing about the source of the signal. However, the thought of what is at a depth of almost 3,000 meters bothered him for almost 30 years. On October 2, 22nd, Ocean Gate decided to organize and fund them. Jesus aims to find out what was it the dive showed that sonar reacted to deep-sea volcanic relief, on which observed extraordinary biological diversity for such depths, according to scientists. And on sonar, it could have been anything, not excluding the possibility of that. What was it? One more shipwreck. As a result, scientists saw pointing record from bathyscaphe of sponge coral, fish, as well as many other living organisms. Experts say that detection of previously unknown ocean ecosystems in the North Atlantic will allow Titanic wrecks. Early explorers company Grave Knelt and Atlantic Production in summer 2022 conducted a scan of the sunken 113 years ago Titanic. They created the first three-dimensional model of the liner, lying at a depth of 3,800 meters in the Atlantic Ocean. Full-size digital image. Let's see Titanic like there's no water around. It might help to find out what happened on the night of the liner crash during. According to researchers, 3D model became one of the first steps to that. To the Titanic story has moved on scientifically grounded research, not various conspiracy theories. Full ship vid, just like a special device works, and over 200 hours fully studied. The liner, so was done, more than 701,000 images from all sides. According to researchers, we really don't get it. Nature of collision with iceberg. We don't even know. Did the Titanic hit the iceberg starboard? How is it featured in all the movies? He may have sat for miles. Naisberg also clarified that external underwater factors are damaging the ship. Time to establish of the full picture of the liner wreck expires. But in the comments write, which of this issue impressed you the most? And also if you are wondering, like and subscribe to the channel.